Hello, how are you? Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes. Oh, good. Welcome. Okay, we'll wait till the top of the hour for others to join in. I'm happy you're here. I'm happy you're here a little early. And I look forward to the call. This is always a fun hour. Is this your first time with me, right?
Are you talking to me? Oh, I didn't know I was the only one.
So far, yes, we start at the top of the hour.
I'm so glad that you're doing this. I'm so underweight and I so fear all these foods that I have allergies to, and I want to gain weight. And so I want to
Okay.
get over my fear of food. Fear
Well,
is not my enemy, my boyfriend tells me, but I just can't gain weight. I'm 89 pounds at 5'3", and it's hard. So
yeah,
I'm
I understand. I understand completely. The tagline of my practice is stop fearing what food will do to you and start embracing what it can do for you. So yeah, we'll definitely talk about your fears, um, and what you've done in the past and what, needs to be done, some suggestions and tools for going forward. How did you come to this community? Nada, is that how I say your name?
Nada.
Nada.
Yes. Yes.
How'd
Um,
you join the community?
oh, I have autoimmune and food sensitivities. Um, and I'm afraid to eat certain things. And even though I'm eating a lot, I prepare all my own food, I can't gain weight. And there must be some block. I mean, there must, you know.
Well, I'd like to really, go into this when more people are on the call, but just to share with you, my philosophy and my training in functional medicine nutrition teaches us that it's not so much what you're eating, it's what your body is doing with what you're eating.
I'm not
So
absorbing.
we would need to explore absorption. We would,
Absorption.
we would need to explore if there are any kind of hormonal or I'm sorry, bacterial imbalances, or even some hormonal balances. How's your stress? How's your sleep? How are the aspects of your life that could impact digestion?
Oh, a light bulb just went off. It's the stress. The energy needed to maintain through the stress is taking away all the nutrients and the energy producing. I
Okay.
just saw it.
So then what could you do for yourself that you're not?
Tell myself I'm safe and it's okay.
Yeah, yeah. I want to say hello to Nancy. Hello, Nancy. You can unmute. Hi, welcome. I was just, oh, and another Zoom user. Now to just bear with me 1 second while I welcome everybody, okay? Because I really want to address your concern. Hello, Zoom user. Can you,
Nancy has her microphone off.
yeah, can you introduce yourself, unmute yourself and just at least give us your name? You don't, oh, Myrna. Hi, Myrna. How are you?
I just sent you a question for today.
Oh, okay, good.
It's in your
Good.
email.
All right, and I will get to it, and I have another question. But I was speaking with Nada. Nada, say hello to everybody. Everyone say
Hello,
hello to
everyone.
Nada. Nada's concern is that she's having a very hard time putting weight on. And she has autoimmune issues she's dealing with. She has food sensitivity issues she's dealing with, and has developed what she describes. And of course, I don't want to speak for you. I really want you to contribute to this conversation. What she says is a fear of food. So, Nada, could you just talk to the group a little bit? And I know Myrna could certainly
Oh,
relate.
yes, I'm always concerned that there's the gluten, the gluten in it is causing all the pain in my body, making me tired. And and there's certain, I mean, um, I've had tests that show various problems. But I really would like to gain weight. I look like a skeleton. I'm 5'3" and I weigh 88.5 pounds last night. It's, I just want to be healthy. I just want to get well and absorb my food.
Yeah, okay. So you said you've had tests, right? So you've had tests for food sensitivities and autoimmune.
For major tests showing every nutrient and function in my body. With Genestra was the latest.
Yeah, okay. It's a good company. And can you share with us, are you comfortable sharing what kind of autoimmune issues you're dealing with?
I have food sensitivities. I have arthritis, which the gluten has been causing pain in my body, which keeps me from living the life I would like to have and having the energy I need to. I'm a musician. I'm putting beauty in the world. I want to be able to continue that.
Oh, beautiful. Okay, so very often when we have, I'm going to back it all up, okay? Because as I said to you earlier, and I'll repeat for Myrna and Nancy, it's not so much what we're eating, it's what our individual bodies, our individual microbiome is doing with the food we're eating. So to back it up, to understand that when there are food sensitivities, when there's autoimmune, very often there is a situation called leaky gut. Are you familiar with that?
I know I have leaky gut. That was the first thing I was. aware of
Okay,
6 years
okay.
ago.
So are you doing anything to heal your gut? Let's start there.
Well, I'm taking hydrochloric acid to help digest the food. I realize that's important.
Do you know
HCl,
that you need hydrochloric acid?
at my age, I'm 79.
Okay, I'm going to share something with you. I will be 69 in a few weeks, and I was having trouble gaining weight and having trouble digesting food. And I was convinced, because of my age and my symptoms, my feelings of fullness, my lack of hunger, that I had lack of stomach acid. And this was confirmed by the opinion of a functional medicine doctor who specialized in gastroenterology. I went for a test. Tests don't guess. And I had an endoscopy, and they inserted a device called a Brava pH to measure the pH in my gut. And it was discovered that I have an abundance, an abnormally high amount of stomach acid. And that's been causing irritation, chronic gastritis. So my point to you is, we can't make assumptions and to start popping supplements because we assume, rightly so, you're right to think that you have low stomach acid because of your age, and you look gorgeous for 79. You're right to assume that. But sometimes we need to take it a step further and make sure that what we're taking is not counterintuitive to what our goal is. So I'm going to start there. But there are digestive enzymes that are very important for you. But hydrochloric acid is not going to heal your gut. What's going to heal your gut is glutamine, herbs like slippery elm, marshmallow root, and aloe.
Okay.
That's what heals the gut. Stress management heals the gut. Sleep heals the gut.
Yes.
And we find that when we heal the gut and we address the stress management, very often the food sensitivities go away. And the reason for the food sensitivities is because when there's leaky gut, right? So leaky gut is, to explain to everybody, the stomach has what's known as junctions. So figure each finger is a junction, and in between each finger is a tight junction. When there's leaky gut, they're loose. So what goes into the stomach, which is then supposed to go into the small intestine and then to the large intestine and then end up in the toilet, ends up in the bloodstream. The body, the immune system, is doing its job and detects these foreign invaders as such, as a threat, and creates an attack, right? The immune system's job is to identify and attack foreign substances that the body deems doesn't belong there. That's what causes food sensitivities.
Right.
So the idea is to heal the tight junctions, to seal those tight junctions of the gut. And what I just shared with you will definitely do that. The other thing you said about gluten, yes, gluten is an irritant, and gluten can be highly inflammatory to some of our bodies. Therefore, your problem with arthritis is there. But there are so many easy swaps today to make where you can avoid gluten. So are you having trouble finding those substitutions?
No, I'm not. White sweet potatoes. I recently discovered many products, many substances, foods also contain gluten besides the wheat and the the ones that the government, the three that the government says all you have to do is say you're gluten free if you're free of these three. But there's really 9 or 10, including. And I've just decided I'm going to stop eating oats and
Well, you can, oats technically are a gluten-free grain. It's when they're cross-contaminated. For example, Quaker oats are not going to be certified gluten-free because they're processed in a facility that also processes wheat and rye and barley.
right.
But oats themselves are gluten-free, so you can eat oats that are labeled as certified gluten-free. Bob's Red Mill makes a wonderful variety of different oat products
I love
that
their
you can
products.
safely enjoy.
Bob's Red Mill.
Bob's Red Mill.
Yeah, I get their buckwheat.
Yeah. So, there are some wonderful gluten-free pastas out there. There are corn, brown rice, there are quinoa. So there are many, many, many options for you. But I think the first trip to journey for healing for you would be to work on healing your gut.
Thank you.
You're very welcome. Anybody else have anything to contribute?
Can I just,
Cheryl.
I wanted to
Yes,
add
you
something
will.
to that too,
Yeah.
because I've been there, the fear of food, because of the outcome of eating something and it wreaking havoc on your body. So yeah, I preferred to not eat, and I went down that rabbit hole too. It just seemed easier. Why think about guinea pigging myself and then having a problem? But Mindy gives some sage advice. You have to find the root cause of whatever it is and stick with the things that make you happy and are safe. But if you have the fear of food, the fear will cause the anxiety, which will cause the cataclysm of the storm of inflammation. So you have to find your happy place. Food is not the enemy. Sometimes we are our own enemy. So you have to just sit with yourself and decide, I'm not going to be afraid. I know what works. This is safe. This is safe. Listen to her advice. Listen to your body. But the fear is what's preventing you from blossoming. And you're beautiful. You're absolutely beautiful. And if you want to share your beauty through music and you're letting this fear stand between us and you, no, don't do that.
What's interesting is when I'm happy, I can eat anything and it doesn't affect me.
So
Yeah.
there you go. That's your own answer. So lose the fear.
Yeah, when we're in that fight or flight or freeze state, right, which is our nervous system's sympathetic state,
Right.
our digestion literally shuts down. When the body senses a threat, whether it be real or imagined, everything, all of our blood pressure increases, the blood rushes to our limbs to get us out of trouble, you know, to get us away from that threatening dinosaur from years
Right,
ago. This is
right.
how we were prehistorically designed, right? So all of the energy in the body is not going to digest the food. It's directed away from it. So that's what happens when we're under stress. And chronic stress then, it creates that vicious cycle.
It's true. Thank you.
And there are some who, when they have stress like you're talking about, turn to food. And then there are those of us that turn away from food when we're in that stress response. But we have to remember, it's the rest and digest state, the opposite of the sympathetic, the parasympathetic, rest and digest, that will get us into absorbing, assimilating, and metabolizing our food the best. But I would also suggest, besides looking into some gut healing supplements, which I'm very happy to make some suggestions to you if that's what you want to think about, would be some digestive enzymes without the
Oh, I do take digestive
Okay.
enzymes every
Good.
morning.
You take them every morning or with every meal?
I take them every morning, and if I need them for a particularly heavy fatty meal, I'll take some with the meal.
Okay, well, I would suggest you take them with like 15 minutes before every meal.
Thank you.
Yeah, because, you know, taking in the morning, they have a very short shelf life. They're only going to be good for about 45 minutes. They're not going to stay in the system all day. So you're best off taking them 15 minutes before every meal.
Okay.
And that will help you to absorb. But the stress management is really important, and the leaky gut healing is really, really important.
I agree.
All right. And think about doing some breathing before you eat. Really eat in a way that you're fully grounded. Again, more than how important what you eat is and what your body's doing with what you're eating, how you're eating. Are you eating in a stress state? If you're eating thinking about, oh no, what's this food going to do to me? Oh no, I'm so worried about how I'm going to feel. Oh no, I hope this helps me. You're eating in a very distressed state and you're distracted.
I feel that I need to sit down in front of my meals and just bless them and thank them for the nourishment they are going to bring into my body.
Yeah. And
And I usually
visualize that.
forget to do it.
Yeah, not to visualize that, right? Visualize your body absorbing the beauty of the feast before you. You know, think in terms of abundance rather than scarcity. It's all about mindset.
Thank you. You're absolutely right.
Oh,
I
good.
feel that.
Let me know how it goes for you, okay? Stay
Okay.
in touch.
Thank you.
Let me know. Let me know. Cheryl, I didn't get a chance to say hello to you. Welcome to the call. I want to address Myrna's question, and then we can go on. Myrna, do you want me to read it, or would you like to, being that you're here, would you like to? I should read it? Okay. So Myrna writes, my daughter called to ask what supplements she should take to lose weight. She went through a period of anorexia, then it was cutting, then back to poor food choices. She's been exercising daily at the gym. The muscle bulk on her small frame might be what's making her so uncomfortable. When she's thinner, she moves better with less pain. I'm not sure how to advise her since I live by example, maybe a little over the top example, but I don't judge her. Well, she's lucky to have you, Myrna. Not judging her. So look, if she has a history of restrictive eating and cutting and overindulging with food, then I would say that she's got some coping issues, right? She uses food to cope, or lack thereof, food to cope, right? And cutting also, you know, sometimes we indulge in behavior that creates pain because it's less painful than the pain that we're afraid to allow ourselves to feel. So I know you understand that. the important thing would be to start, I always like to back it up, right? Did the weight gain come from her poor food choices? Has the weight gain come from the fact that she was restricting and then perhaps overindulging to compensate for the restricting?
So I asked her that question because she called me yesterday. She was at the supplement store and I said, so are you eating well? She goes, absolutely not. I said,
Okay,
okay, so are you eating late at night? All the time. I said, so you know what you need to do, and you don't need to go into a supplement store. So she said, but I don't eat right, so I need supplements. I said, you need to eat your supplements, not take your supplement. So I said to her, just pay attention when you're eating, pay attention to what you're eating, pay attention to how much you're eating. Part of it could be new person in her life, and I don't know, some people when they're really happy, they just throw their cares to the wind and don't pay attention to how they feel until they don't feel good.
right,
So
right.
I don't really know because I've lived through her anorexia and it just made me very sad because it triggered everything in me and I didn't want her to go down there. And then when I found out about the cutting, then I didn't know what to do about that because I did other things. It just, those kind of things that we do to ourselves to elicit something that we think we need or that we're lacking is never a good thing. And
Yeah,
it's sad that you have to become old to realize all those things.
yeah,
The young people don't realize it, and it's very hard to tell them because we want them to learn their life's lesson through trial and error, but not through that kind of trial and error. So I don't know where to begin with her because my children only know me looking like this. That's all they know.
right.
So to them, it's just normal. That's just mom. They don't understand that we all, no matter how anybody looks, we all have a something, something that we're dealing with all the time and navigating on our journey through life. So I don't want her to stare at me and go, well, you don't understand. We all understand everybody's situation. We've all had our own. We can relate to it in some way. But I'm an old lady and I'm her mother, so I don't really know what I'm supposed to say to her.
You're far from an old lady. I would first address basically what is she hungry for, right? Where is she feeling lack of nourishment from the kind of nourishment that she's not going to find in the kitchen? What's happening late at night that she's eating? What's happening that is driving her to make what she's describing as poor food choices? You've got to start there with the root cause, right? It's not about doing the change, it's about becoming the change, right? And I would also speak to her in terms of what could you be doing for yourself that you're not? Because should implies shouldn't, which implies shame and judgment. Could implies choice, and that inspires empowerment. So what could you be doing for yourself that you're not? How can I support you? What kind of support are you looking for? Don't decide for her what she's feeling or not feeling. Even if you know, let her tell you so she can come to realize it and embrace it herself and acknowledge it. Because until we acknowledge it, it's very hard to become accountable to it, as painful as it is. Right?
I think
We overeat for several reasons, right? We overeat in response to an emotionally charged situation. We eat so as not to feel emotion. So what's going on for her that is driving her to those disordered behaviors?
I think I struggle with, I've always looked the same my whole life. So I struggle with my children where their weight will blow up and then they'll get thin and then they'll blow up and then they eat crap and then they eat good and then they eat, and I don't understand I don't understand how my children are navigating that and how they feel about that. I mean, I have a valid reason to be the way I am. And I look at them and I think, what's their valid reason? They're young and they go out drinking, they're young and I don't know. They're young and they throw their cares to the wind.
Well, you have to think back about the messages that they got growing up about food. I write in my book about the fact that when I was restricting and not eating, I was getting smaller. My teenage daughters were getting bigger. It was their reaction to me. My son-in-law makes a joke of which we laugh at now. When my daughter, years ago, when the book, The Hunger Games came out, she said, I just read the best book, The Hunger Games. My son-in-law said, oh, I thought that was the story of growing up in your house. So it's the messages that, not only the messages that we give, but how they're interpreted, right? Now you, Myrna, have a very, very valid reason for being so wrapped up in your health and your wellness and how you treat your body, right? But think about what that has done in terms of what your children see.
I don't know. I thought it was a good example.
It might be, but for them, it might be interpreted as you said, over the top, to use your words. Maybe they feel they can't live up to it. So maybe your relationship with them has to be less about that. Less about all you do to take care of yourself.
Well, but that will never happen because my children, this happened to me because my husband passed away. So when all this happened to me, I had to just take care of myself.
Mhm.
And my children were young and they were left without a dad and they saw their mother, slowly getting crippled, and it was hard. So they thrive on the respect of how I'm doing what I'm doing and will openly tell me, I don't know how you're so committed. I said, well, what's my option? There's no option here. I only have the one option. That's it.
But if they don't know how you're so committed, that doesn't mean that they don't have the utmost respect for you. It just might mean that they don't feel they could live up to your standards. Not that you're asking them to, but it's amazing how our children interpret things that they see us do and say when we have the best of intentions.
So what do we do about that? Now that it's said and done, what do we do about that?
Walk in their shoes a little bit. Walk in their shoes. But I would turn it around and put it on your daughter. What is it that you really need? Can you think about that? What is it that you're hungry for when you're eating at night? Is it that you're unhappy being with yourself? Is it that you didn't eat enough during the day? Is it that you are bored? It could be any one of many things.
I don't know, my mother-in-law used to say, when people are happy, they gain weight because they're happy. I mean, I don't, I've heard that more than once from
Yeah,
other
well,
people.
every that's very bio-individual, but it's a question of really helping her to understand why the weight is there in the first place. A supplement won't help until she addresses what she's really hungry for.
I think it's more of, there are certain foods that just make you more hungry. If you eat sugar, you're gonna crave more sugar.
Yeah,
You eat
well,
salt, you're
that's
gonna crave more salt.
well, again, it's very bio-individual, but yeah, if you're eating an abundance of highly processed, nutrient void foods, you're going to crave more. And there's definitely been research and science that points to how our brains are affected. The dopamine part of our brain, the reward center of our brain, is turned on by all those highly processed, industrialized foods. They're not even foods, they're products disguised as food. So, yeah, what you're saying is true. We should all be eating the majority of a whole foods diet. So that goes without saying. Dr. Mark Hyman says, eating junk food is going to make for a junk body. And that's not just so much about outward appearance, it's about what's happening inside.
Okay.
Yeah, so let's see what happens. Please keep me posted. I really do care. And I'm very happy to talk to you offline if you'd like.
Appreciate it.
Cheryl, Nancy, did you come with any questions today? Or you just want to listen, which is fine.
I'm a listener.
Oh, okay, great, good. But you know, that always helps too, because if somebody says something that strikes a chord with you, then it's always very helpful. And sometimes when you step back and you're an observer, it hits home even more. So I hope you get wonderful benefits out of being with us today. Cheryl, you too?
I came because I've been searching for quite some time. I'm up and down with my weight all the time. I used to be very, very thin. And I was anorexic, and then I was bulimic, and then I did really well for several years. But I have a mentally ill son that I deal with all the time. And I notice when things aren't doing well, my weight goes up. And right now, his son is living with me because 2 weeks ago I had to take him in. One of the boys, he has 2 boys, and I agreed to take one in. And personally, I think he's bipolar. I'm having a terrible time with him. He's 14. And it has turned my life upside down quite personally. And it's been awful. And I was doing well with food until he came in, and now I'm not doing so well. And I don't know. It's like you said, what are you hungry for? I'm hungry for peace and just being left alone and not having to be responsible for anybody but myself, and not having to do anything for anybody because he doesn't say thank you. He doesn't acknowledge you. He's just rebellious. And so it's been difficult for me to get my food straightened around. And of course, he has his own food, and it's soda and junk and everything else. And it's been a challenge, a real challenge. And I haven't had time to spend time for myself because I have to get him to school and cook for him. And it's just been, I can't even explain what it's been like. I'm 71, and this is huge for me to have to tend to. I'm the representative payee for my other son that's mentally ill, and that's a huge responsibility right there. And then to take this on, it's a lot. And his mother we don't know where his mother is. She just left them. And I'm trying to find out what to do. How long am I going to have him? He's angry and he's just all over the place. And so I'm struggling, really struggling.
Yeah, and understandably so. You know,
I'm having panic attacks, and everything is coming at once, and I don't know how to. I've tried to do whole foods, and I also have an oxalate problem, huge oxalate, and I've been diagnosed with histamine problems.
Okay.
And so I was trying to address that, and I'm waiting to get into an allergist, but it's not until October, and so I'm having a lot of issues with food.
Wow, October.
My legs are weeping all over the place and itching and swelling, and it's really been challenging.
Right, so there's a lot of inflammation there.
Yeah, a lot.
Yeah, so the first thing is, what can you be doing for yourself?
Yeah, because I'm also shaking all the time. I started with tremors and I'm just a mess, panic attacks and my bladder. I have a lot of incontinence all of a sudden. And I
Yeah.
think my whole nervous system just says, that's it, no more. I'm not doing this anymore. And
Do you
so,
have any support?
well, they sent me to a trauma therapist. And I live in upper state New York and she lives in Long Island, so we do it online.
Uh-huh.
And I've had to cancel quite a few of my appointments because he was here and I couldn't, I just live in a little tiny apartment. Like there's only 2 rooms and so it's not very big. And we're right on top of each other, and so it's been difficult. So I haven't been able to talk to her in a few weeks and it's just been kind of crazy.
And there's no family support.
My one son that just moved back from Hawaii, he's very supportive, but
Okay.
I have 2 other sons. One's an alcoholic and the other one's mentally ill. And so,
So
that's it.
the son that is supportive,
Yeah.
can he offer help? Can he take
He's
the?
trying to help, but he also is working and he's going to school too. And so he's pretty busy and he doesn't live in the area. He lives about 2.5 hours away from me. So he's made like 3 trips up in the past 2 weeks to help.
Mhm.
But he's wearing a little thin himself, there's a lot of lying going on from their mother. And it's just been, I mean, I just don't even know what's happening. We don't know what's happening. We're trying to figure it all out. Having to deal with the school, it's been a lot. Plus, we live where it snows. We had 14 inches of snow. And so it's been crazy, just crazy, crazy things going on.
Okay.
And I really haven't had much time for myself. I'm exhausted from trying to
course
keep
you are.
up.
Well, the first thing is I think you need to prioritize your appointments with your therapist.
I'm trying to get back to that. Now I have him in school, but it took me a while to get him
Yeah.
into school because he'd missed so much school. And they had to transport him. I was transporting him back and forth. And I just didn't have time.
Is he making friends?
Not really. He's kind of a bully.
Because if you could encourage him to make some connections, might help. Remember, he's going through a tough time too,
Right.
but it's a question of what you can do to take care of yourself. So it's important you speak with a therapist, even if it means you have to take your computer or your iPhone or your iPad, whatever device you use to meet with her, if you take it into the bathroom or a closet.
Well,
But
the
it's
bathroom's right next to.
all right, well,
I mean,
or a
my
closet
apartment
or
is
a
big, but
garage or
very small.
something, but that has to be a priority. And the other thing is to make sure you're getting enough sleep. You know what kind of food is best for yourself, right? You understand that self-soothing with food is only going to make things worse.
Right. I
It's
do
going
well
to
for a few days, but then I get really tired
tired. Yeah.
and
Well,
it's like, oh,
well,
my
now that he's
stomach
in
starts
school,
hurting and I just
Yeah.
feel that craving. And it's just like you say, you know, it's easier to eat than to face what you have to do and you have to face. And
yes, it is. But it's very important for you to find the right support.
well, I just started with this new therapist because they sent me to her because of trauma. They said I've
Okay.
been through a lot of trauma.
What about a social worker from the school?
I thought about going back to the school today, but my son he knows a social worker and he's very familiar and he's put a text out to her and see what she can help me with because he ran away from me the other day and I didn't know where he was. And now he's not speaking to me because he wants to be back with his mother. I don't even know where his mother is. you know, and so I can't help. And they had 4 cats apparently, and he misses the cats. And I can't imagine she's in a shelter with 4 cats. I've called around and tried to find out more about. I've spent a lot of time trying to make the situation right, but it just isn't. And so it's been difficult, you know.
Myrna, Nada, Nancy, you have any suggestions for Cheryl?
I was thinking about her speaking to her therapist. What about getting in your car? That would be a safe place to talk to her from. I know that doesn't relate to
Yeah,
the son, but
I can if I sometimes I live in I can't explain it, but it's like a dead zone, and sometimes I don't even get any I don't get any bars on my phone, and I can't even make a phone call. It just depends, you know. And so I thought about that. But
Do
I
you have any friends? Women your age, men your age,
Well,
anyone?
I did have, but since COVID, nobody wants to do anything because they're older and they're all afraid to get together and everything. And some of them aren't that well. And so it's been difficult. It's really, my whole life has changed in the past few years, you know. Then my son moved to Hawaii and he was my support and he just came back. And so luckily that has helped me, but it's been, the past few years have been pretty traumatic for me. It's been quite trying. You know, my son has become psychotic every now and then, and he's under a court order, and I'm responsible for him. I've been like his caseworker for many, many years, and it's a lot of work. It's a lot of work.
But you just need like you're having this, which is very lovely for you, I'm sure, to have like other people have conversation with you so you can share.
Yeah,
You need a this, but you need a this in real life.
yeah, I know, I do. But you're right.
Is
But
there a local library, like while your grandson is at school, you can go to the library? I made friends with the head librarian at my library. That was my first friend when I was living in New York.
well, we used to go to the library. My friends and I used to go to the library, and we used to color. You know, we used to share different pictures and color, and
What
I
about
played.
now? That you used to do that, but could you do that now?
Nobody does it anymore. They don't even have it.
But
It's
can you just go to the library? You're talking to us. You didn't know us. Just go to the library, wander around, say hello.
true.
Is there a support group available to you that you could find? Even
I
a
don't
small
know.
one
I'm
to
not
share.
sure. You know, I haven't found that yet.
Ask your therapist if she or he knows
I
of
don't know.
such a
She's
group.
from Long Island, and I'm from Bridgeport, New York. I'm way up in the upper
Well, there are
There's a
upstate.
lot of people in
a
New
lot of
York.
support groups now are virtual. In fact, I'm
Oh, okay.
going to be starting one myself.
Oh,
Yeah, if you're on my mailing list, you'll certainly get
yeah,
an
yeah.
announcement about it. Yeah, that's a great idea, Myrna, and I love the idea of going to the library and just putting yourself first when you can, when your grandson is in school. But I would also encourage you to speak to somebody at the school if he is having problems connecting. It might be helpful to make the school aware of it and to
I
see.
did take him. I did take him when he first came. I waited for his mother to do something because she said she was going to, and she never did. And so, the following week, I took him this last beginning of this last week, and they are aware of the situation because they've been trying to contact his mother, and she's not responding to them either. And so, both my grandchildren are in the same school district, and they're both the counselors that we spoke to are both aware of the situation.
Because maybe you can get some support through that angle as well.
Yeah.
And you said you cook for him. Do you share meals with him?
Well, I've been cooking 2 separate meals because he did get some food stamps, and he ordered his own food, and it's not really what I would eat. And I don't want to use the food stamps for myself because they're for him. So I cook a meal for him and then I cook a meal for myself. And so it's been double the effort because, you know, he eats differently than I do.
But are you taking care of yourself with the meals that you're cooking for yourself?
Yeah, I had been. I've been trying to eat
Okay.
as much oxalate free and histamine as possible, and I do really well. And then
Good.
I either run out of money myself or, you know, I've had a lot of trouble with money issues.
Yeah.
So, but I'm doing better than what I was, let's put it that way. It's just that I'm just trying to figure out how to do it even better.
Well, it's a meal at a time, and it's reaching out for support.
Right. Well, thank you for all the information. It's nice meeting everybody, and thank you for
Sure.
letting me share.
Of course, of course, of course.
I appreciate it.
Well, we appreciate you being here.
Thank you.
I want to share a question that somebody sent in to me this morning because she couldn't be with us today. She writes, I have a new assignment, a living liver donor for my youngest daughter. She went down a deadly rabbit hole after our U.S. Marine Corps scout sniper, her brother and this author's son died, and she now needs a liver transplant. They're in the process with the University of California, San Francisco, surgery date to be determined. My assignment is to lower my BMI. I've self-medicated with English muffins, pastries, pizza after Marco's death, and having limited mobility, gained a rotund belly of fat. Been on a modified master fast, allowing for approximately 1,200 calories per day. Day 9 now, and surprisingly lost 4.5 inches from the waistline. Have another 10.5 to go. 10 to 12, I'm sorry, to go. Food intake is the highest quality I can obtain. Due to the vast emotional impact of all of this, I decided modified was safer for me than total fasting. Any input you may have is very welcome to help me obtain my goal of 32 BMI, which doesn't have wiggle room per UCSF. They're already allowing for my over the age limit. I'm 66. Thank you in advance. And then she followed up by telling me, because I asked her a few questions, if she had any health issues. She says no, she's addressing her thyroid and blood sugar through nutrition, which is excellent. Her annual exam in January of this year was cause for celebration, normal blood sugar and thyroid, just still chubby due to lack of mobility. She's sleeping okay. She has some devices that she uses, and she's waiting for the weather to turn better so she can use her e-bike to ride. So again, you know, this goes to who are we as eaters, right? She understands why the weight came on in the first place. And Bren, I know you're going to be listening to this, so I want to speak to you as though you're here. You know what put the weight on. Eating in response to an emotionally charged situation or eating not to feel emotion is one of the first ways that we cope with something as painful as losing your Marine Scout. So first of all, our hearts go out to you and offer you, really from the bottom of our hearts, all of our energy and healing light. I wonder though, if this 1,200 calorie a day diet is making you feel deprived. You've suffered enough deprivation in your life. You're worrying now about your daughter, and you express that you're lacking the ability to be as mobile as you'd like to. So you're suffering from some deprivation. I would like to think that you're not feeling deprived with food. So I would suggest that you take heed to our earlier discussions What is it that you're hungry for? I imagine it's peace and some security, certainty for the future, and a relief from the grief that you must be feeling. But food won't do that for you. You know that. I would worry about taking care of your heart so that you could then take care of everything else. And think about if you're feeling deprived or not. I'm not really sure what this fast is about. I don't know what you're eating or how you're eating. Are you eating slowly? Are you eating with intention? Are you grounded while you're eating? What is that like for you? Because it's very hard to get well in an environment that is contributing to our lack of ease, to our dis-ease. So I would love to know more about that. And again, I'll open up the discussion to anyone else who wants to contribute. Is there anything more I could have suggested to Bryn?
Everything is a process, takes time, patience,
Very true.
and knowing you deserve the good things. And peace and a sense of security and
Yeah.
being safe during
Yeah.
it.
Exactly. No, and unfortunately, having to wait for a liver donor
Stressful.
has to be an incredibly stressful process. Not knowing what's around the corner. So give yourself some grace. Have compassion for yourself. Give yourself a hug every once in a while. In fact, an exercise I love that a colleague taught me. Yes, havening. That's it, Nada. Yes. It really just absolutely gets us into that parasympathetic state. Producing our own oxytocin. Cheryl, that would be good for you too. Give yourself a hug.
Yeah, that's a great idea. My therapist did teach me heart math. She said to put my hand over my heart and breathe deeply because I was having trouble getting to sleep.
Yeah,
And I do EFT tapping,
good.
and that has helped me also.
Wonderful.
But sometimes I forget when I get really panicked. I forget to do anything. I just become so panicked that I truly just forget everything completely.
Yeah, well, maybe you could put Post-it notes up for yourself to remind yourself,
Oh, that's a good idea.
tap, breathe. Heart math is wonderful. Heart math, basically, you're connecting to your heart,
Right.
the center of your being, of your soul, and you're breathing into it and just expanding. And again, it's very helpful to get you into that rest and digest state.
Yeah.
That would be helpful for you too, Nada, to breathe, conscious breathing when you sit down to have your meal.
Belly. From the
Yeah.
belly.
Yeah, belly breathing. But if you put your hands on your heart, it kind of connects you to.
Yeah. The other thing that I do is my grateful list. I do my grateful list a lot, and that helps to just
Yes.
kind of bring me to a different state of mind where I'm not focusing on everything that's wrong, and instead I'm focusing on things that I have in my life that I'm grateful for. And that's
Exactly.
helped also.
And it moves you from that mindset of scarcity to the mindset
Yeah.
of abundance. Yes, and Fran, that would be very helpful for you too, what we're talking about, the heart math breathing, deep conscious breathing connected to your heart, the havening. And if you can learn the tapping technique, the EFT is very, very, very helpful too.
Yeah,
for
there's a lot of YouTube videos out there
Yes.
and books too. I have some books. I even have some weight loss books on it that I have done it in the past, but I really have to focus with the weight loss. I can't be all over the place and tap and everything. I get off track. I just get off track. I don't know what to say or what to tap about, and I have to really stay focused to
Well,
be.
the issue with obsessing on the weight loss and making that the goal is that it becomes a source of stress,
Right.
right? The obsession should be about stress management, right?
Right.
The thinking should be, what can I be doing for myself that I'm not?
Yeah.
Because just worrying about the weight is going to keep you in that stress response, which is going to be counterintuitive and counterproductive.
I don't worry so much about the weight as I just worry about all the inflammation.
Yeah, of course, of course.
That's what
You
I
know,
care about, because
but-
when it becomes so inflamed, it's difficult to even keep
Right.
going.
Right.
So,
But watching the oxalates is important, the histamine response, foods that create the histamine response. But you know, you cannot totally restrict oxalates.
no, I know.
Right.
No, I don't.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
can't, because then you have something called dumping and that can make.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I took a couple of classes with Sally Norton, and I have her book,
Good.
and yeah, I'm learning about that, but it's kind of brand new to me.
It's a lot. Oxalates is very overwhelming. I know.
Yeah,
It really is.
it has been,
And
but
she's
it
got a
does
great
work.
list.
When you're doing it right, it does
Yeah.
work.
She's got a fabulous PDF. I don't know if you've seen it, where she lists all foods, you know, high, moderate, and low.
Yeah. Well, when you take her little classes, I can't afford to go to her personally, but I've taken a couple of her group online classes, and she
Good.
sends out a tremendous amount of information after you take the class, which has been very, very helpful to me. So,
Good.
but I just haven't had a lot of time to go through the information, because I've been so busy and entailed with my grandson being here. That's the thing for me, is I get sidetracked and then I get off the route of what I really thought I was trying to do.
Well, see if you can rest during the hours he's in school. Meal prep for yourself. Practice your breathing. Get in some appropriate movement, even if it means dancing around your house or pushing a vacuum cleaner. Make sure you're moving.
Yeah, I am, but not very far, because I got one little path through. We've got a huge mattress in the middle of the living room, and all his stuff is everywhere. So we have a path from the kitchen to the bathroom to the bedroom. That's it.
All right, well, navigate that path as best you can.
Not much room.
I hear
Come
you.
join us next month, because you know, we do this every month.
Yes.
Oh, you do? Oh,
We do.
okay.
We do it every month.
Oh,
do it every month.
okay. Well, thank you. I look forward to that.
Good. We'll look forward to hearing about your progress. You too, Nada. And Myrna, I'm anxious to hear, not anxious, eager to hear how your daughter's doing. You know, in terms of supplements, ask her what she needs to supplement her life, not what she needs to supplement out of a bottle.
Mindy, I have a quick question.
Sure.
Because I cut out carbs because of sugar content, and I'm afraid of sugar. Where can I get a good calorie chart for raw vegetables and fruits and meats, but not for food products?
Okay.
The raw foods.
First of all, why do you want a calorie chart?
To make sure I'm getting enough calories right now while my body is needing so much of it.
Okay, well, you know, you could just Google individual foods, but I wouldn't worry so much about calories. I would worry about the quality of the food you're eating. And I would reframe your relationship to carbs. because there are some carbohydrates are essential nutrients. They're just as important as protein and fat. Your brain needs carbohydrate in order to function properly. Your brains are made up of fat and glucose. You don't need refined sugar, but you need a source of carbohydrate that becomes glucose in the body, that becomes glycogen, and that is what is stored for energy. So,
That can be fruit. I don't eat grains. I don't
Yeah.
have any grains in my diet, but my carbohydrates come from fruit.
yeah, but then again, if you don't need to eliminate grains, we talked about oats. You can have, gluten-free oatmeal. You can have potatoes. You can have sweet potatoes. You can have squash. You could have gluten-free pasta. They're wonderful. You can have beans. The bean pastas are very good. There's red lentil pasta, chickpea pasta.
Yes, I do that.
So those are the kind of carbs that are important to eat. I understand you don't need refined carbohydrates because those are the products I was talking about that are
Yeah.
disguised as food. Do you do okay with dairy?
Not really. I've been using goat dairy.
Okay.
It's better, but I am allergic to cow dairy.
Okay, so you can have coconut milk ice cream.
I
You can
have
buy
it,
it
yes.
that's sugar-free, has no sugar added.
I do have that.
Yeah.
But is
Uh,
that both
There are
carbs?
some cereals now that they're marketed as being keto friendly, but for me, that means no sugar added. And they're very high in fiber, which is important. Cereal called Catalina Crunch, which is delicious and crunchy. And it's grain free. And then there's another one called Three Wishes, which is
I
great.
love Three Wishes. I buy 3 boxes at a
Good.
time.
Okay, it's
the
great.
Only, sweetener free thing
Yes,
I can find.
it's wonderful. And it's very, very low in sugar. It's only got,
There's one that has none, a light
I
blue
know.
box.
yeah, the blue box. Yeah.
That is my.
Okay, so I mix Three Wishes with Catalina Crunch.
Oh,
And yesterday I tried a new cereal I bought called Seven Sundays, which is made from cassava flour. Cassava is a tuber.
yes, I have cassava chips.
Yeah, good. And I added that to my cereal this morning. Another good cereal is Kind, the company Kind. If you can eat Kind bars, they have some varieties that are very low in sugar. They're basically nuts.
Yes, I do.
I don't
have
have
bars.
Kind bars, and the Kind granola is gluten-free.
Okay. But I could just go online and Google the not carbs, but calorie.
Yeah, but the truth is that the calories in fruits and vegetables are going to be very, very little, right? You want to eat protein. You want to eat good quality protein, grass-fed meat.
That's
You
what I do.
Okay, you want to eat poultry. You want to eat fish.
Yes.
You want to have healthy fat, avocado,
I
nuts.
eat a lot of avos. Yeah.
Okay, exactly.
I
All right,
just,
so you're eating all these wonderful foods, so then something's telling me that you're not absorbing.
not absorbing.
So this is what you're going to do. You're going to start slow. You're going to start by taking the enzymes 15 minutes before every meal and snack,
Okay.
and see how that works for you. You're also going to start practicing some stress management exercises.
Okay. That's the start. That sounds great. I'm actually coming out of about a year of intense stress.
Okay.
It is, and I do feel it. And once tax season is over, I will breathe a huge sigh of relief and celebrate.
Good. Good.
The living situation is a problem. I'm not going to go into it, but it has been very, very, very stressful. But it is
We are-
changing.
We are here for you. So I hope that all of you found this call beneficial. It's the top of the hour. I want to respect your time. And I will look forward to seeing you next month. And you know, you can reach out to me anytime with a question, a concern. I'm here to serve.
Thank you
Absolutely.
very much.
You're very
Thank
welcome.
you.
And Bren, I hope our suggestions to you were helpful, and you stay in touch as well and let me know how we can be of further support. Have a great day, everybody. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.